Hey there folks, welcome back to another video, and today we're doing something a little bit different. We're not taking a look at a mask or a figure, we're taking a look at a statue. Yes, this is a McFarlane Toys DC Direct Superman statue, based off the art of Jim Lee, of course, and you can see they're doing their little digital thing right here, which we'll get into in a minute. However, taking a look at the box, you can see the nice Superman shield right there. Superman by Jim Lee. There's a little digital card. You can see the beautiful statue right there in this bubble packaging. Also the trading card up there, DC Direct McFarlane Toys Digital. You take a look at the side. You get Superman by Jim Lee and a couple more of the logos at the top. You can see just a little bit of a bubble right there, so you can get a good look at Superman's, I don't know, upper portion. Anyway, here's a nice broad look at that artwork by Jim Lee. You know, I actually just heard what this story was called, but I can't remember what it is now. I can't remember. But of course, you have this as kind of a nice complementary piece to the Batman version of this artwork, also done by Jim Lee, so that's pretty cool. And then get another side right there. And I'll list what that comic is called that the artwork is from when I get a chance in the video. But anyway, let's go ahead and crack this guy open. Alrighty, folks, so we got the figure, or the statue, I should say, all cracked out. And I'm very pleased with this. I've been looking at this guy for a few weeks now. The first time I seen him in person was at a GameStop, a town over, a couple towns over. And I just fell in love with him. I do recall seeing him from time to time on Big Bad Toy Store, but I never pulled the trigger. And I was aware of this one and the other one that is flying, and I definitely like this version a little bit more. However, as much as I love Jim Lee, I'm not the hugest fan of when his interpretation of Superman is kind of brought to life in figure form or statue form. They have the, I think it's Prime One Studios has their 1/3 statue. Now that looks incredible. That's a whole different thing. But as far as the McFarlane version of their Hush Superman or the Mafex Superman, I think that they both leave a little bit to be desired. And that's also down to the actual aesthetic of Jim Lee's Superman, in my opinion. For the most part, it's perfect. There's just a few things I don't like. I generally don't like the way that he does the hair. Now, this isn't meant to be a drag on Jim Lee, because he certainly is incredible, but I'm just not, his Superman's not my favorite interpretation of the character. There's just a little tweaks I would make. But in figure form, you do get to see a little bit of like the way he does the hair, where it's kind of got these like spiky elements. Now, in terms of this specific pose, I get what they're going for. It's supposed to look more like kind of like the wind is kind of moving his hair around, which it does give that effect. But in like figure form, for an example, like the Hush figure from McFarlane, I'm not the biggest fan of the way his art is translated. It kind of just looks like spiky Superman hair, and I'm not a big fan of that. But for the statue itself, I don't really have any real gripes apart from two and one quality control issue. Actually, 3 gripes and then 1 quality control issue. The first gripe is pretty glaring, and it seems to be a reoccurring issue with McFarlane, and that is that they, for some reason, don't like putting the little check up there. No. If you look at Superman's crest, his shield, you can see that is right there, and it's missing on Superman's statue. That little triangle. Yeah, not a fan of that. Speaking of the Superman shield, it's also missing from the actual back of the cape. Now, that one I will let slide for 2 reasons. The first is, when I was younger, I wasn't the biggest Superman fan, so when I seen that, I never even really liked it to begin with, but as I've gotten older, surprisingly, I've fallen more in love with the character now that I understand him a little bit better. And as much as I do like the yellow shield now, I wasn't always a fan of it, so I'm kind of okay whether it's there or not, if I'm being honest. And the second reason I'm okay with it is because also, knowing myself, there's a good chance that this cape might get replaced anyway. I'm already not a fan of the wires in the cape, which is the second issue I want to bring up. The yellow crest isn't really a problem for me, so that's not one of my issues, but it is something that is there. The second issue is the wires. They're not as strong as I would like them to be. So if I'm trying to replicate the actual cape pose, I would want this to kind of be more like this, a little bit higher. The wires can't really support the cape, and it's not even a heavy material at the end of the day, so it's a little bit frustrating, but yeah, I might replace that. The quality control issue for me is just my head doesn't seem to be ported in properly. You can see that kind of lip right there, and then it's not on the other side. And then also if I bring him around, you can kind of see a gap right there where the cape's coming out. So it does appear that my cape, and I just messed that up. It doesn't appear that my cape has been ported in, or my head's been ported in properly. So for me, the little triangle on the chest, the wires being a little bit not strong enough. Those are two issues. My third issue is the stand, which you'll see is not present here. I'm not a fan of the stand. Saying McFarlane Toys Digital, I would much prefer it being black or something that was just a little bit more low profile. Maybe like, I mean, I'm assuming this is supposed to emulate the Chrysler building, but maybe just like a corner of a roof, or maybe fully fledge out the kind of gargoyle that we're seeing here, or in this case, I guess an eagle. Make it a little bit more fleshed out. I'm not a fan of the big disc. I'm not a fan of the McFarlane Toys logo on it. So, and as you can see, it's not needed. He doesn't, well, okay, that was a bad example, because this thing, the actual turning table can tip. But you can see that if you wobble him, he has pretty solid balance. So I'm not going to be using that. And also, another thing McFarlane does that I'm not a big fan of is that they put the card and the accessories or the stands, they glue them to the back. Now, it's great for in terms of storage, and it's also great for the way that it looks inside the packaging when the figure's in there, but there's so many stands that I have that I don't use because I'm not a fan of ripping open the packaging like that. So that's not really a fault on them. It's more sort of my own grievances and my own preferences, I suppose. But yeah, not a fan of the stand. I would have preferred them do a little bit something different. I also would have even preferred that they, if they were able to flesh out the eagle aspect of the base, give him something proper to stand on, and then maybe provide a little bit of the wing. It might be, you know, kind of odd for the wing to be cut off a little bit, but I would much prefer something between these two being connected and by itself, and pay $70, $75 than pay $50 for just that. Now, I guess it doesn't really matter because I'm not using that other piece anyway, so maybe I shouldn't complain. But that is just my thought process on that. I love that all of the red elements are separate pieces. You'll be able to see that here. You can see that those are separate pieces connected. It appears to be the hands are the same situation, so all the skin tone aspects are all separate pieces, which I really do like. And it seems to be that the only elements that are painted are the yellow. And from personal experience, I know how hard it is to paint yellow, and they all look pretty well, or all look pretty good in my opinion. The trunks, they have a little bit of weathering on them. The boots have a little bit of weathering on them, a little bit of a wash, and the blues have a great deal of blue shading, which I really, really like. There's a texture on the suit. Fix this guy back up. There's a texture on the suit that I really, really like. I'm a fan of the skin tone. And again, the yellow looks really good. The actual eagle itself looks really good as well. I really like that paint on there. So yeah, this is my second official statue in my collection. And I'm a big fan. I want to, someday get into the line of painting statues. I already work on figures and stuff like that. Eventually, I want to work my way up. I definitely need to do some catch-up, though, because I'm not even very comfortable painting faces at the moment. So if I really want to work on higher-end statues, I certainly need to start really working on that. But this is a great piece, in my opinion. I really love it. I just think that this is really just a childish mistake right here. I don't know. You already have to do all these cuts. I can't imagine that one would have saved them that much money. So I'm not really a fan of that. And also, they haven't just done it on this. The other Superman statue, they've done it. They've lacked painting it on certain figures. Let me actually see something real quick. Yeah, so here's the Action Comics 1000 re-release, the Walmart exclusive, and you can see that it's not even shaped like a triangle on the back of his cape, which they finally did it on the cape, but then it's not even shaped properly. So, yeah, there's definitely some things with McFarlane I'm not a fan of. I'll get into more of those in some videos. I have a lot of McFarlane reviews coming up that I want to do, but I don't really want this guy to get any longer. There's not a whole lot that I can say on it. We can actually kind of, I suppose, get a better look at the face. I don't really have great lighting to really showcase this, but he does have some really nice paintwork on the face. I do like it. The lips are good, the eyes are good, the eyebrows are good. I guess I kind of just went over some of my overall thoughts instead of kind of getting nitty-gritty in it. I appreciate them not doing the line work in the belt. I'm not a fan of that. I've started to see that on other Superman statues, this kind of line work inside the belt. I don't like that. I want it to be simple, simplistic. I like the wrinkling. It all looks very natural and sleek, although there isn't really any wrinkling on the legs, which is a little bit odd, but yeah, I really do like this. You can see those kind of rivets on the eagle. Or hawk, whatever the hell this is supposed to be. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be an eagle. But yeah, you can see the ports right there to port into the base. Which, honestly, if you look at these right here, they look too close together compared to the actual stand. So I'm not too sure about that. But yeah. That is Superman. And I do want to I want to dive more deeply into my ever-blossoming love for this character, for Superman. I'm really starting to fall in love with this character, which is just so odd. Superman is kind of a character that, when a lot of people think of, Superman is kind of the character that you would love as a kid and kind of grow out of. That's always kind of the stigma that's around him. But not for me. As I've gotten older, I've fallen more in love with characters like Superman and Captain America than the other way around. So I definitely want to do some videos on exploring that, maybe a suit ranking. I really need to start diversing my channel. If you actually look at my bio, it says a lot of the stuff that I want to do, but I haven't really gotten down to doing it. So stay tuned for more Superman love whilst we live in this Superman renaissance. So yeah, those are my overall thoughts. I think this guy's definitely worth it. If you want to start getting yourself into some statues, I think $50 is really not a bad price. You can get some really cool Diamond Select statues for that price. And apparently you can get some decent McFarlane ones as well. So yeah, this is going to be a nice drowning. I can't speak at all forever. God freaking, I don't know. Anyway, this is going to be a nice trophy in my collection to represent my love for Superman, a crowning jewel, and he is, I don't know. I'm really happy with it. So, if you guys liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe, notification bell, all that would be greatly appreciated if you decide to do so. I'm sorry for my constant ramblings. I can't put a sentence together for the life of me. But anyway, with all that being said, until next time, true believers.